never tell. Clearwater fan girl, she's got the views, spilling the tea on wrestling news. She's in the front row, she's on the floor. She's got an ear to the backstage door. Clearwater fan girl, give us some more.
So welcome to Clearwater Fangirl Unplugged. I'm Angie Holland, and today I'm very excited. I have a very special guest on, Gunnar Eudy. He is not only the son of Sid Eudy, whom we all know and love as Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, Sycho Sid, but he's also a wrestler in his own right. Wrestles under Two Sycho. Sometimes Lord Humongous comes out. He also runs his own promotion that he founded called The Wrestling Order, or TWO. He's involved in various charities. He's on the road 280 days a year. He's in the gym every single day. And on top of that, he also has a family. So he is a very busy man, and I just thank him for being on. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Shall we get right into it? I talked about how much you work. You have so much going on. I think you even have another gig that you've got going on in Las Vegas, like a production related contract that you're doing or some sort of arrangement. How do you balance? We'd love to hear how you can balance all of these things without kind of losing your mind. Is that when Lord Humongous creeps in?
Sometimes, I think I lost my mind about 15 years ago, and I haven't found it since. But I do have a lot of helpers in my corner. My wife helps me a lot. My friends and family, they all step up and help a lot. We have a lot of people in the wrestling community that help a lot. So there's a lot of help, especially with the wrestling side of things. And then, yes, like you said, I work a full-time job traveling on the road. I work for a production company out in Las Vegas. And then I also run a full-scale commercial landscaping company back home here in Arkansas, which my wife takes care of all the invoices and billings for that, and I do most of the estimates on the phone with Google Maps. But we get it done and taken care of. But we do have 9,000 irons in the fire, and they are all hot.
That's great. That is great. Did you learn a lot of that work ethic from your dad?
I did. I still don't work as hard as he did. He was, the hardest working person I've ever seen. And, everyone always says that about their dad and but I actually mean it. It's not just a nice thing to say about him. I mean, from the day he started to the day he was done, he was the hardest working person I've ever met. I mean, there at the end, he would go get, chemotherapy in the morning, then he'd go to the gym, or he'd go to the gym, then he'd go to chemo, and then he'd go to the boxing gym after chemo and do a boxing class, and then come home and work in the yard until he fell out. He just, had no stopping him, no quit. But I did get a lot of that instilled in me through him.
I'll bet. I know your dad had a lot of injuries throughout his career. I knew about the one where he hurt his leg. You had told me before he had broken his neck a couple of times. There were some other issues, and he never gave up. He just kept going. I think after the leg thing, didn't he keep wrestling for like 17, 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, his last appearance was probably in 2020, and it was up in Canada. And he did a little small in-ring appearance then, so he was still going on to the end. And if you had called him the day before he passed, I'm sure he would have taken something then too. But he never quit. He like you said, like I was telling you, he broke his neck twice. One of those times was in a rental car. It was up north somewhere. I can't remember. It was either New York, maybe Canada, but I think it was him and. Was it Bob Holly or it was a car full of people. They flipped. My dad was driving. They flipped the car on a viaduct, and broke my dad's neck, and I'm not sure what everyone else's injuries were, but Abdullah the butcher was in the car behind him. He had to make the call back home to everybody's wives and let them know what had happened. He was upset and worried that everyone was dead, so no one could understand what he was saying. So that kind of made everything a little worse and more chaotic than it was. But he recovered from that. He had a lung injury. They had to cut out half of one of his lungs. His lung, collapsed on him from an injury he obtained working a match with Scott Steiner before his leg. So they had to cut it. They reinflated his lung twice, maybe three times before they eventually had to cut half of one of his lungs out. They told him he'd never be able to lift heavy again in the gym. He'd never be able to wrestle. He wouldn't have the lung capacity for it. And once again, he proved him wrong again and made it back from that. And then you get on to the newer injuries when he broke his leg on live TV. That was a double compound fracture, tibia and fibia. It was a terrible break. The only thing that kept his leg from actually falling off was the fact that he had the boot laced up tight all the way to his knee, because the bone had broken so much skin that it would have just ripped the rest of the way off. But they said he would never be able to run again. He would be lucky if he could walk again, that he would never be able to walk right. It ended up that one leg was like an inch and a half shorter than the other leg after that. So he had difficulties with that, but once again, he proved him wrong. He was back out on the track, running bleachers, running the track, jumping hurdles in just a few months' time. Made a full recovery. He probably would have went back to it was when he broke his leg, he was not cleared by the doctors to be wrestling that night. He was having a bad shoulder. He had a bad shoulder injury. He couldn't lift his arm up over his head. And the doctor said he needed both the shoulders replaced. He told him to replace with both shoulders, which he never got. He just naturally recovered from it. But he, that was, if you look back on the calendar and stuff, it was, when he broke his leg, that was just a couple of months before WCW shut doors and sold out to WWF. So that was, he was coming in because he knew the company was hurting. They were, trying to get everybody in there they could to draw. They were, just like a last, effort to make WCW maintain a company. And that was one of the reasons why he was there, because he knew the company was hurt. So he went back a little early, and that's what happens. Don't go back early. Wait until you're ready. That's one thing I've learned about that as well.
Well, that, and I mean, I have heard a few rumors that they were pushing some of the bigger guys to do more high flying kind of stuff. And I don't know that your dad was 100% comfortable, especially with the other injuries that he had, but he did it anyway. And I have always secretly kind of blamed WCW and whoever it
Yeah.
was that wanted him to do that when he knew he wasn't 100% anyway. But being, a team player or such a hard worker, he went for it. And I don't know if you had heard that before, but they were pushing the big guys to do more like
No, that's
acrobatic
true.
things.
They were
Yeah.
wanting the big guys to use the ropes and start doing stuff. He was against it. They had a conversation before the match. He didn't want to. He didn't want to jump off just the middle rope. It wasn't the top rope, but he didn't want to jump off of it anyway. And a little earlier in that match, he had also, besides the shoulder injury, he had busted a couple vertebrae in his back. So he was favoring his left side when he went down and he broke his leg. But people don't think about it. He was 318 pounds lean, solid muscle. Even though that rope's only a foot and a half off the ground, jumping off of it to kick someone in the face and land on one leg, all those boots, the wrestling boots are great, but at the same time, they don't have really wide platforms. Outside of the laces being tied tight, they don't have a whole lot of ankle support. So, and then this isn't really related, but one of my tag team partners, which we were working a match against my dad and Scott Hall, and my partner was getting out of the ring, and someone had left a full Coke can laying on its side on the ground, and when he stepped on it, it rolled his leg, double compound fracture, tibia and fibia, just like my dad, just stepping out of the ring onto a Coke can. But it's just, it's freak accidents. You got that weight coming down, and something just doesn't line up right. It doesn't work right. And those big guys should have never been doing that to start with.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit about when you first started wrestling, you were less than 16 years old. Can you tell us about that first match? you weren't even 16 yet, right? And it was with your dad?
Yes. So my birthday is right in the beginning of June. And this was right at the end of the school year, beginning of May. I was coming in from school, and my dad he was sitting in the kitchen. He had this big shit-eating grin on his face. And try these overalls on. And I put these overalls on. He hands me, it was at the time, that first match, he handed me a flannel long sleeve button down shirt. It was like blue and white. He said, try this on. I said, what are we doing? Are we going and planting food plots to go hunting? Or are we going, going on to a farm? What the hell are we doing? And he pulled out the Lord Humongous mask, which is sitting right here behind me. And he handed that to me. He said, put this on. In my mind, I was like, man, what the F is going on? And he says, all right, boy, we're going to Osceola and we're going to go wrestle tonight. I said, wrestle? I don't, outside of the PlayStation, I don't know what I'm doing in a wrestling ring. I don't even know the names of the moves. He said, don't worry, it'll be easy. We're going to go early. I'll teach you when we get there. We get there. I'm nervous, been sweating bullets the whole car right there. Tried talking to him the whole car right there to get a little information out of him. And he was sealed tight, wouldn't share anything. We get there about an hour before doors open. I say, hey, we're going to go out here so you can teach me something. He says, oh, no, I'm not going to teach you before the match. I'll teach you during the match. We'll call it in the ring. I was like, call what? Call who? 911? What are we calling in the ring? And he goes on and he says, just trust me, it'll be fine. And it was. We went in there and he called simple stuff that I knew the name of: sidewalk slam, cobra clutch, bear hug, test of strength. And then, he took the opportunity of it too. Every time I do the test of strength with him, he'd kick me in the nuts once or twice. Just had to get that in there, nice and stiff too. Enough to
Keep
get
you
my feet off
honest.
the ground a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make you tough. Oh,
But
wow.
we did that same thing for the next Friday and Saturday night for I don't know, about 6 months, and then Scott Hall came and stayed with us for about 8 months, and we kept doing it with him. We went at that time when Scott was here. We were doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes Monday too. Wherever we could get booked, we were traveling everywhere.
So I was going to ask you about that. You said that Scott Hall was your dad's driving companion, or they used to go places. And I've heard so many stories about wrestlers' kids saying they'd wake up and Andre the Giant would be asleep on the couch, or they never knew who was going to be down in the, sleeping somewhere in the guest room or whatever. I mean, was Scott staying with you guys? And did that happen a lot where your dad was bringing home other wrestlers and saying he's going to stay with us for a few days?
Well, that was at a spot where Scott was, making a big attempt to do better with his life. And my dad was really wanting to help him out, and he did help him out tremendously while he was here. They both got clean together of their vices, and they went to the gym every day. They ate clean. Even when we were traveling on the road, we would still hit the gym. We would still eat clean, and then they smoked a lot of pot. But outside of that, they were straight edged, and we had a good time. I loved it when Scott stayed with us. He stayed in our guest bedroom. I swear it felt like it was over a year, but I think it was about 8 months that he stayed with us straight. And that was the only like in-home experience I had with a wrestler. Our brother had more than that. My brother's 10 years older than me, so for him it was one point in time. When Booker T and Stevie Ray were first breaking in, they lived in an apartment with my mom, my dad, my brother in Georgia, outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
So they all stayed in a one bedroom apartment together then. So, and then they had Typhoon and Yokozuna come stay over there a couple of times. My brother was there and stuff. So there's all, little stories like that too. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Wow. A one bedroom
man,
apartment.
a one bedroom apartment. I'm glad when I was dealing with it and Scott was staying with us, we were in a nice 5 bedroom house. So it was
Yeah.
a little more roomy.
Yeah, that's good. Um, what else was I going to ask you? I guess, let's see.
Oh, what kind of car did we travel in? That's my
Oh,
dad, Scott Hall, and
sure.
myself. We traveled in like a 2005 Toyota Camry across the country everywhere we went. The three of us, sometimes four of us. Sometimes we'd bring Stumpy, one of my dad's friends. We'd bring him with us too. He was one of my
Yeah,
friends too.
yeah.
But yeah, so there'd be three or four of us in not a brand new, a little bit older Toyota Camry. with maybe missing a hubcap, but it got 40 miles to a gallon and had ice cold air conditioner, and we traveled in that thing everywhere we went.
Well, I mean, it sounds like fun. I'm sure it was a good time. You never went anywhere with them. When did you go to the first match? When were you allowed to go to a match?
Uh, you know, honestly, besides when I was, right there at 16 years old and I had my first match with my dad, I can't really remember attending very many
Really?
matches before that. But I can remember a bunch of, Memphis wrestling matches, the TV tapings and stuff with Lawler. I remember a bunch of those. I have a little bit of PTSD, and I even have a sign right here behind me. I don't know, it's probably inverted, hard to read, but it says the King of Memphis signed this, and then Jerry Lawler signed it right there next to it. But
Very cool.
that's probably my youngest memory is I was at a show over in Memphis, and my dad and Jerry were working each other, and I was going. My dad wanted me to get him some gum out of the car, so I went and got him some gum, and I was bringing it back there in the locker room. And when I came back in the locker room, Jerry had just gotten out of a match and was sitting in the corner, blown up, sweating, out of breath, butt naked. And I got PTSD from that. I'll have that for the rest of my life. You
I'm
never want to see
sorry.
that.
You can't see that.
Still today, when I see him, I get flashbacks, like black and white pictures in my mind of him sitting in that corner, sweating naked. I was like, oh my God, there's sweating. And then he had sprayed himself down before he went out there, like everybody does as well. So
Yeah,
too
yeah.
much water.
Yeah, sorry you went through that. I'm kind of visual too, so I'll always remember that. So thank you. But I
You're
didn't actually
welcome.
see it at least. What does your brother Frank do these days? Is he a reality star?
He went on the TV show Big Brother. He was on there twice. He had done some tryouts for, I think, a couple other shows, maybe Survivor, I think Amazing Race. He didn't get the acceptance on the other ones, but I think he's still trying. He worked for a sales company. I'm not sure exactly what he sells. Last time he was doing like hospital equipment. I think that might still be what he's doing, but he's a salesman. He lives down in Naples, Florida, and he has two beautiful kids, a beautiful wife, and a beautiful life.
Good deal. Good deal. Um, we had talked a little bit about, I guess you talked about that one bedroom in Atlanta, but then by the time you came around, you guys were back in Arkansas and you had that nice house. And that's kind of where he kept you guys and raised you, kind of, anchored you
Yeah.
there. What did it mean to you growing up in like a small town as opposed to being exposed to the stuff that's going on in, the wrestling stuff in Atlanta and Tampa, those places? Do you think you had a better childhood because you were just there in that area, no matter what was going on?
Not to talk too bad about Atlanta and Tampa and Orlando and all that stuff, but now, especially being an adult and going to those places quite frequently and coming here, I'm really glad I was raised here instead of there because it's a lot more laid back here, more secluded. It's nicer in a few ways, but um, I really appreciated living here. I really took it for granted. I didn't understand how much stuff I got away with until I started traveling to other places, and I was like, "Oh man, this is illegal. I can't do this here." But
Yeah.
this is but it was good. Everybody in the town, they still today. Everybody knows me first and last name. Everybody knows where I live. Everybody knows what I drive. I get waved at everywhere I go. Every time I stop in the store, I got to talk to 1,000 people. So I send my wife by herself. But it's great. I really do like the town I live in, and I don't see myself moving anywhere anytime soon.
Good too. You did say it's a little hard to be a heel when you look out into
It
the
is.
crowd and it's all your friends.
It is. It's hard to be a hill when you do shows around these small towns because you go out there, and I mean, even if you have 1,000 people in the house, it's such a tight community here. If I go out there with 1,000 people, I've had dinner with 998 of them. It's
Yeah,
I've watched a movie with 400 of them. It's hard to go out there when because I'm really I say I'm a nice guy. I'm real laid back. That's what everyone says about me anyway. Everyone says it, so it's got to be true. But
it's true.
I'm I've always I'm losing my train of thought here. I don't even know what I'm saying
It's
anymore.
late. It's all right. It's
It's
late.
late.
I appreciate you doing this at this late hour, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about when you are wrestling, maybe not through TWO, but maybe another promotion. When they see Udi on that card, do they panic a little bit or do they worry? I mean, they see you walk through it, so obviously you're an Udi, but I mean, are you treated differently in backstage than you would be otherwise if you were Jones or Smith?
You know, for the independent shows and some of the bigger ones too, I would say that I do get treated like, some kind of wrestling royalty, even though I don't really deserve it. But compared to traveling with my dad and Scott, going to all these independent shows, being in all these locker rooms, seeing how everybody treated them, how everybody acted when they were in the room, I feel that's very much the same for me today when I go in the locker room. But I always make an extra point. I always get the promoter. I'm like, hey, start a group chat. I want you to add me in, and then he adds me in, and I go in there. Hey guys, looking forward to see you tomorrow. Everybody, wash your gear, take a shower, put on deodorant, brush your teeth, please. It's just what I lead with every time. So they know I'm looking for hygiene as soon as I walk in the door. So if they stink, they usually stay on the other side of the room, and it's perfect.
Hey, that makes sense. That's good advice. Uh, especially if somebody's got you under their arm or something. So I'm just curious, your dad moved you back to Arkansas, but he loved boating, right?
You
So it
did.
just wouldn't it make more sense if he wanted to be like in the Tampa area or something, as much as he loved like his jet skis and his boating and his fishing, or um
Well, we went to the beach all the time. We have family that live in like Titusville.
okay.
My brother lives in Naples now, and we have family in Cocoa Beach, all in that area. But it's we went down there all the time. We didn't do a whole lot of boating on the ocean. This what my dad was real big on jet skis. We always had jet skis. And then here in Arkansas, we have some of the nicest lakes in the country. We have two that are in the top 10 nicest lakes in the country. But
Okay.
it's for him. He wanted to go out early, wake up at the crack of dawn. The lake's like 3 hours from the house. He wanted to leave 3 hours for sunrise so we can make it to the lake at sunrise. We'd get the
Yeah.
waters in right as the sun was, we'd get the jet skis in right as the sun was coming up. And the water was really smooth. It's not like the ocean. So it's glass out there. There's no waves. So you can take the jet ski and run it, 80 miles an hour. And it's just like riding on ice, just, no bump or nothing. And that's what he really liked was the calm, still water. So it's probably why he didn't care for the ocean a whole lot, which we did.
Yeah.
When he swam in the ocean, when we go out there, he'd swim out to the sandbar. He'd stay out there forever, but he didn't really do boating and jet skis and stuff in the ocean like that. But he did enjoy jet skiing. He did enjoy boating. And he enjoyed just being out with people in general, whatever excuse he could get to go out and get some sun that wasn't in a tanning bed and hang out with some people at the same time
There you go.
and drink his wine. He was famous for drinking port wine on the rocks.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. It's
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
trivia. Port wine
About
on
two
the
when
rocks.
he would drink, he'd have two or three bottles in one night. It would be port wine on the rocks.
Well, he's a big guy, so I could see that. You had said that he had such a love for animals, and you had told me a story about, I guess, a little puppy he had found on the side of the road, and he brought back over to your house to become an Udi. Are there any other stories, or can you share more about that story? I mean, did that happen often, where he'd find, maybe a little critter that needed rescued or something, and take care of him, I guess.
Well, that dog was he found coming over the Memphis Bridge over the Mississippi River. And was a little dirty terrier stray, and he picked her up and brought her home, and we had her for close to 20 years. We named her Honey. She looked a lot better after we had her for a couple of months, and we got her hair cut and grown back out. But she was a sweet dog. We had her forever, but he did that all the time. At one point in time, I think we had six dogs. We had and out of the six dogs, I think he had bought one of them, and the other five were rescues. And then it
Okay.
was, but he's always rescuing dogs. And another thing he was real big on is like out behind our house, out in the country, a couple of miles, there was this spot out there where they kept horses and cows and stuff. And they always had a bunch of stray dogs out there. So we didn't keep leftovers at the house. overnight. We'd keep them through the day. So we'd have our leftovers from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we put them in one of those big black turkey pots that everybody uses for Thanksgiving. And we would take them out there every night and feed the stray dogs too. So like 20 stray dogs we fed plus our 6. And we did that, 7 days a week. He didn't miss that.
And
So
is
it
that
was,
part of what kind of inspired you to become involved in your local animal rescue, and helping them out the way that you have been?
for
Um,
sure. For sure. I'm just trying to do anything I can do to keep him from haunting me. I don't want this psycho Sid Vicious coming into my dreams.
I don't think Sid Vicious would haunt. Maybe Lord Humongous. That he's the guy I'd worry about, but I wouldn't worry about Sid Udi at all.
Well, that's why I keep the mask. That way, in case the ghost of Lord Humongous comes around, I put the mask on, and we can have Lord Humongous versus Lord Humongous.
Oh my goodness.
My dad and I, we did that probably 100 times too, because we have 2 humongous masks, and we worked against each other, Lord Humongous versus Lord Humongous.
How'd that go?
Tagged with each other. We tagged with each other as Lord Humongouses, and we worked against each other as Lord Humongouses.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
really cool. I mean, a lot of
that was
people
good
can't
too
tell those
because
stories.
he was wanting me to work the gimmick, so that was a way that we could get in the ring together, and he could show me how he wanted me to work it. So that that was very helpful as well.
Well, I have a silly question. Is it hard to work with something like that on your face?
It is, especially this 1983 fiberglass mask, because for one, it's been taped over 100 times. So everyone's like, it looks like a coconut shell. It's like it's athletic tape. It's old and brown. I'll tape it again, and it'll look like that again in another year. But
Yeah.
it's so half the vent holes are taped over, so it only has half the vent holes, so it's extremely hot, not vented.
Yeah.
One of the eye holes has been broken out by a D battery, and that was thrown at one of the Insane Clown Posse shows.
Oh.
So that eye hole's been rebuilt with tape, and it's so now the eye holes are different sized and off centered, and then the mask slides up and down a lot as well. So it's
Uh,
you never know what you're going to be able to see and how much you're going to be able to see. So you gotta make the best of what you got.
it's just part of the experience, I guess. So tell me a little bit about this. It's not a Royal Rumble because that's a WWE term. It's a um
We're doing an
what
extreme battle royals, what we're going to
battle
call it.
royal is
I
the
think
word.
that's what we're going to go with.
How many people do you have that have contacted you that are interested? Is it 200 something people that want to be
We have
part of that?
211 people on the list from some local, but ranging all the way from Australia, Beijing, the United Kingdom, Canada, Alaska, Mexico, California, which, that's the United States. I'm still saying they're coming all the way across the country, all the way across the globe, traveling in for this. People are coming by train, bus, plane, car. I'm sure there's people coming on a boat, but we've got so many people coming for this. We got a 211 people on the list, and I know I'll have some people that don't show up, but we're hoping we get as many as we can. And in that 211, the guys that are on the main card aren't on that list, and they'll be part of the battle royal too. So that that's another 30 people right there. But it's we got a lot of irons in the fire. And then we're still booking people. I mean, for instance, I booked Carlito today, so we'll have him there. That'll be good. And I'm working on booking Don Vito, Big Vito, and not Don Vito, Big Vito, the Don Vito's from Bam Margera. I had to think about that for a second. That's his uncle
Okay. Okay.
that mumbles all the time on the TV show. But
Still,
we, Tommy Wildfire Rich, Downtown Bruno,
oh, that's
Doug
great.
Gilbert. So we got a couple of my dad's friends in there. We're working on getting Lawler there. So we're going to put it together. We're going to have a good show. We're hopefully get tickets on sale in the next few days.
What I wanted to ask, is this going to be recorded? Are we somehow going to be able to watch it, those of us that can't attend?
We will have, we're going to have a bunch of cameras in the building. And that's one thing too, is, I want to give we're going to have a bunch of cameras on the production side of things, but it's another thing. I wanted, like I made a post a while back, I wanted to bring the old school feel back. I wanted people to do flash photography, to get some disposable cameras or professional cameras, wherever they got with the brightest, most annoying flash. bring them and let them flash throughout the matches, so we get some really good videos of the ring, with the wrestlers working and the flash in the background. Try to really hook in, bring in that nostalgia feel to really make something that people have lost and no longer create. So there will be a lot of videos. We're going to be running in-house, and then we're promoting for everybody to take as many pictures and videos as they can as well. So there'll be a lot of content that comes out of the show.
Okay, that's great. And that is the first, let me see, it's on August 29th, and it is in
August 29th,
Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, Tennessee at Minglewood Hall, August 29th.
Okay, and it is the Sycho Eudy, what is Sycho Sid memorial event. Is that the first annual
Here,
Sycho Sid?
you're butchering it for me, so let me help you out here.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
August the 29th, Minglewood Hall, Memphis, Tennessee. First annual Sycho Sid Memorial Benefit Show. All proceeds go to local animal shelter. Be there, be square. There you go.
That was perfect. That was perfect. It runs in your blood. It does. Some more questions. Have you been injured when you've been wrestling? Have you had any major injuries?
I haven't had any major injuries, but I did have one when I was about 18, maybe 19 years old. I was working these guys that were really new to the industry. They were still in training. I mean, I should have still been in training myself as well. So I'm not saying that I was better than them, because I wasn't. They were good workers, but they still needed some small pointers. And one of the things that happened was one of the guys gave me an elbow off the rope. And when he gave me the elbow, in wrestling, you would drop your elbow with your arm flat, not pointed down. He had his pointed down. So he gave me a real elbow and cracked my sternum. And that took a little bit to recover from.
That sounds terrible.
It
So-
was bad because, well, let me repaint it a little better. These guys' gimmicks, they were called the Gorillas. They had a combined weight of 1,000 pounds. They had me in handcuffs, or had my hands taped in front of me. The guy carried me out on his shoulder like a freaking baby. I've never felt so weightless in my life. He did it so effortlessly. Carried me out on his shoulder, stepped up on the ring, threw me over the rope in the center of the ring, and then they did like a small roll over me, which wasn't bad. One of them did a splash, or one of them just splashed. It wasn't bad, and then the one hit the elbow, and they cracked my sternum, and they can't see anything. I got the mask on. It knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't breathe. And then after that, they hit me with another splash, then hit another roll over me, then hit me with a leg drop, and I'm sitting there with a crack. Anyway, but by the end of it, I was ready to cry, but I didn't. It was fine. They got me out of there. I got untaped, got them down, and got back to the back and got myself together. But that was the only injury I've really had, besides, a broken finger and stuff. But cracked sternum, that's the most painful one I've had anyway.
So
Yeah, knock on wood. I got some up here. Let me knock on wood.
what do you like better? Do you like running TWO? Do you like doing your production stuff in Las Vegas? Do you like the work with animals? Do you like the actual wrestling? What is your favorite part of all the things that you do? What do you
Can
enjoy
you
the
make
most?
that any harder?
Well,
Can you
of
make that any
course, your
harder? Why don't
family.
you just add my wife and kids in there too?
I was gonna. Your
Let's
family's
really
number
split
one.
hairs.
I didn't
Let's
put your family
really
there
split
because
hairs
they're
here.
number one. They're always number one. But after number one, your family. After that, what's a strong number two?
It would be hard to say when you're asking between work. I really enjoy my job. I like my job a lot. I work with a lot of really nice people, a lot of really good people, professionals. I really do enjoy my job. Uh, you know, I even love my job a little bit, but I actually do love wrestling. Um, and then you ask, what would I prefer, being a promoter or being a wrestler? I'm not the greatest wrestler in the world, and I know that. I've never claimed to be, and I don't mind if people say that I'm not, because I'm aware. But I do enjoy it. I really like going out there and doing what I can do. And if Big Larry on the corner gets mad, doesn't like it, I don't really care, because all the kids ate the shit up and they loved it. But so I don't know. This will be my first show promoting it. This the Sycho Sid Memorial Show will be my first show as a promoter. So after that, I'll be able to say which one I definitely like better than the other one. But for now, I'm going to say wrestling itself. I like the most out of the three: work, wrestling, or promoting. I like wrestling itself. Um, it doesn't cost me money like promoting does. Promoting is costing me thousands and thousands of dollars, and I still don't see the end. I still have 6 more flights and 10 more hotel rooms to book, but it's um, wrestling by far for now.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
How about
see.
your
I don't, and then I really, it's hard to say because the promoting thing, raising money for the animal shelter and stuff too. I really like that, so it's hard to say.
how about your
Wrestling.
pod how about your podcast? Are you working on your podcast?
So I started a podcast, Show Tells and Hotels, and the name came from because I'm primarily in hotel rooms. I'm home right now, but I'm back on the road Wednesday. I'm primarily in hotel rooms, and show tells and hotels. We talk about shows and talk about shitty hotel rooms or whatever it may be. But and then it was just show life in general, not just wrestling, concerts, movies, comedy shows, midget wrestling, whatever it may be, And my problem there, where I really dropped the ball, was I had interesting topics and stuff. I did not like the idea of reaching out to get people to be guests. So I was going to have to find somebody to do that for me. So I've really slowed down on it. I haven't filmed an episode in a couple of months, but I am going to get back to it.
Okay, that's good to know. We'll be watching for it. I wanted to ask you about, we lost Sid in 2024, and you were kind enough to send out that social media message so that there were no rumors flying around. We weren't wondering whether or not it was true or not. Um, did they select you to send out that message, or what brought it upon yourself to send that message?
Um, which my brother doesn't live here, so he wasn't, which we called him and told him, but he wasn't really hands-on on the scene to deal with the day. So it was my aunt, my mom, and myself, and I had um, the biggest platform, so to say, at the time. So it was easier that I did it, but it was just I had to get it out because it was when it happened and when he passed, we had every city worker, all the several ambulances, all the fire trucks, the animal shelter, the dog pound was here. Every cop that was on duty, off duty, the detectives, the multiple corners, everybody was there. It was just you're making such a big deal out of it, so I had to. I had to, unfortunately, rush and put that post together and try to get it out so I could have everything, out and clarified before any rumors could start.
Yep, so that we weren't all going crazy because we were hearing little bits and bobs of all these things. So we appreciate
Right.
that.
Well,
I
it's
know
like
that was
a big
hard.
thing too. Is like all the people that came by. None of them knew that he had cancer. He didn't tell anybody he had cancer. So it was, anyway. I didn't want to hear any false narrative or whatever. So I just got out there and put it out there and let everybody know that he had passed away, that he had cancer, and he had been battling it for several years.
Um, so for the Hall of Fame in 2026, when they finally brought it on to the Hall of Fame, I mean, they did, I forget the term for it, but it's when someone is brought into the Hall of Fame after they've passed, and they do it on this overhead screen, and they run a nice video, and then it's done. It's like maybe about 5 minutes, I don't know, and then it's over, and then they move on to the next Hall of Fame recipient. And you
Um,
had mentioned that you weren't,
it was about 38 seconds for the
was
record.
it 38
Yeah,
seconds? I thought
yeah,
it was a
something
few
like that.
minutes.
It was
Okay.
no, it
And
was
there was
less than a
no
minute.
merchandise, no merchandise for Sid.
Nah, nah, nothing for him. It was like before we were going to the Hall of Fame, I went by ATM on the casino floor there at MGM Grand, and they got the TV monitors on the top of them. Get some cash out to go to the show that night, and they have the picture pop up on the top of it, and it's the Hall of Fame, and it's got everybody that's on there except for my dad and Bad News Brown. But what was they put, and I'm not knocking Andre and Hogan, but they put their match in there. One of their matches in there as a legacy match or whatever. But anyway, on that picture for the Hall of Fame, they had the Hall of Fame glass, and then they had a picture of Hogan and Andre the Giant on there. But my father, Bad News Brown, were nowhere on it. And I was like, maybe they're on the next one. Switch to the next one. They're not on it either. So it was just little things like that throughout the whole weekend. In the few weeks I was in Vegas for the 2 weeks before WrestleMania, so just seeing everything, all the advertisement as it's getting set up, loaded in, it all was festering and getting to a head, and it was wasn't too happy with it. My son, he really enjoyed it. Luckily, he's old enough not to know any better, but he will one day. When he gets older and looks back on it, he'll realize that it wasn't that great of an honor like they said it would be. But it was. We'll see. We got some things in the works with them. After I called them out about it, I've talked to a few people with them now that at the very top of the food chain. So we'll see. They're going to try to make things better for the future, and we'll see how that goes.
I think there are other family members of legends who have voiced very similar opinions about the way that they presented, their dad or their uncle or what have you. So hopefully they will make a change. We'll see next WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah. And that's when I told him, I said it doesn't. I'm not expecting to like Stephanie McMahon, her Hall of Fame induction. They probably had a $1.5 million budget on her video package. Just crazy stuff. Which I'm not saying that they should have taken anything away from Stephanie. Stephanie's stuff was great. She deserved it. I'm not saying make her video shorter. I'm not saying make her night shorter. I'm not saying take anything away from her. I'm just saying don't give someone so much and someone else so little. And when I'm in it, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen, and that's what people say that I'm mad that I wouldn't get the merchandise off the shirt. Well, I just wanted to take my son to buy a shirt of his grandfather. I don't care about that. And then you have the people say that I just wanted to be on stage in the spotlight to give the speech. I didn't want to give a speech. My brother would have gave a speech if there would have been one given from us. I don't, I wasn't really in for that. But what I would have liked to see was them to have a couple of people he had worked with talk about him, instead of the one clip they paid in the video package, and it was of Booker T, and that was a clip of an interview they did from the day he died. They reused that video 3 times. So it's just they didn't put any thought into it, any effort into it, outside of they didn't have to get me a flight or hotel room or anything because I was already there. So they got my mom and brother their travel. So outside of that, they didn't put $1 into it, and it just really felt underthought, and just like I understand too. It is a business at the end of the day, and they're trying to do stuff to make money for themselves. They're not putting you in the Hall of Fame because they want to put you in the Hall of Fame. They're trying to put a class in the Hall of Fame so they can make some money off the Hall of Fame that doesn't really exist. So it's I understand that, but there's better ways to do it. You waste so much money everywhere else. Just save a couple dollars there, put a few more here.
And for wrestling fans, like speaking for myself, your dad was such an influence on me. I mean, this sounds crazy, but the 4 horsemen that I love are Sid, Barry, Arn, and Rick. Those were my 4 horsemen. They kept getting all these other 4 horsemen. I loved those 4 because that's when I started really loving wrestling. I followed Sid everywhere. I mean, not literally, I wasn't a stalker. I mean, on different,
I've seen you in the background of at least 50 pictures.
No, please. But I mean, he really meant a lot to me. And today he is one of my favorite wrestlers. And for them to just kind of give him just such a small tribute. But I mean, Ivan Koloff, they treated Ivan the same way, I think the year before, or maybe was it this year? It was, a split second kind of thing. And his wife stood up and then that was the end of it. So they do need to work on their Hall of Fame ceremony, I think. But
they do. That's That's the thing too, is that I didn't even stand up when they pointed the camera over at me. I was gritting my teeth. I was so mad. I wanted to just take the camera and beat the guy to death with it, but I didn't. I was able to control myself just a little bit.
Yeah, you put that Lord Humongous mask away and just remembered yourself. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Do we have any more questions? Is there anything you want to bring up about this upcoming August 29th event since I absolutely slaughtered it? Can people still get
Um,
tickets?
The tickets haven't gone, which by the time this airs, the tickets will probably be on sale because I think I'm gonna put them on sale tomorrow.
Okay.
So the tickets will be on sale. It'll be August the 29th, Minglewood Hall, Memphis, Tennessee. We're gonna have Guinness Book of World Records there to try to set this official world record because there's currently not an official world record. And then we're gonna start early. We're gonna do a meet and greet about 4 o'clock with all the guys there. Sell some, t-shirts and autographs, whatever, with the people we have in town. And then we'll open doors at 5. So 4 o'clock meet and greet, doors 5 o'clock, national anthem 5:45, first match 6 o'clock, into show 9:30, something about that.
Okay. And we
It's gonna be
should
a
see
great show.
lots of pictures, lots of videos, right? After this is over, we should be able to see
Should
some.
be loads of content from it. Obviously, the best feeling you'll be able to get will be in house, but I will have loads of video that come off of it, loads of pictures,
That's
loads
awesome.
of videos. That's what everybody keeps asking to live stream, and as I said, I'm more worried about the in-house people at the moment right now. So I want to give them a good show, and then we'll play it for everybody else after the fact. So if you want to see it live, you got to be there.
Okay.
If not, you can watch it after the show.
Sounds
If you want
good.
to see it live, uncut and unedited, you can be there. If you want to see it after the Hollywood movie magic, you can watch it after the show.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know it's late and I know you took time out of your busy schedule to do this for me, and I can't thank you enough.
Well, I
And
had 3 off days and you fell into 2 of them.
well, that worked out for me then. I'm so happy. Thank you. I hope you have a great night and I hope we can talk again sometime.
Hey, thanks for having me. And you have a good day, and enjoyed being on your show, and maybe we could do it again in the future.
Sounds good. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. You better hit the record button.
I did.
Thank you. See you soon. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay, same here.
Sequin shimmer under neon lights. The grit, the sweat, the rise, the fight. She loves the craft, the art, the sell. But some things she'll never tell.